Hello again, welcome to my video. Today we are going to be talking about constraints. I'll be talking about this command, this one, and that's about it for today. So let's start. For these commands you need these toolbars, the sketch tools and the constraint. If you don't have them, you can find constraint here and sketch tools here. The first command is this one. Geometrical constraints. So when we draw a rectangle, let's say this one, we get these little constraints for its geometry. So let's delete it and turn off this command. Let's try and draw another one. Now we have it without the constraints. We can do whatever we want, change the shape completely. Let's delete that. Now let's say we want to draw the rectangle and make the width be 10, height, let's make it 15. We got these constraints, the external and internal constraints. The H constraint makes the line parallel to the horizontal line. The V constraint makes it parallel to the vertical line. Now if we delete this, which right click delete and draw it without this, let's say we want the width be 10 and 15 again, we don't have that. So like before, CATIA likes to make do stuff automatically. If we draw a line that's horizontal, it will give us the horizontal constraint. If we make it vertical, it will give us the vertical constraint. That's the basics of CATIA. Now, if we make a line that starts from the beginning 0 coordinate, that line will be connected to it. Like you see, we cannot move the line. If we made a line anywhere else that's not in the center point coordinate, if we look closely at sketch, we have the origin point that has a center point, the H direction, and the V direction. This one is not connected to the center point, so we can move it freely, while this one is, and we can change its length and everything. So let's just delete that with delete key on our keyboard, delete key for this. The first command here is constraints defined. If we draw a line and if we select it, we can now select this one, the constraint definition. We can select the length. It does a quick constraint for the length. Now, if we made two lines, select this one and control click on our keyboard, press the control key on our keyboard and left click with our mouse to select multiple objects. We can now select the distance between these two lines. The next one is angle. So to simplify the angle constraint, let me just make two lines at an angle. Now if we use this one real quick and select this, we can get the distance, the length constraint. But if we select this one, we get the angle one. So if we draw two lines, let's say this one and this one, and we select this one and press our control key, then left click this one, select this, we get the angle operation. And it gives us the angle. Now you may notice that it is purple. When this is purple, that means CATIA is confused. A purple constraint means that the object is over constrained. That means these constraints are messing with each other. Let's say we want this to be 60 degrees. It's not 60 degrees. Why? That's because this line needs to be parallel with this one, and this one needs to be parallel with this one. If we just delete this, it's not over constrained. which means we can get the angle that we desire. There we go. The next one is radius and diameter. Let me show you that. That is connected with a circle. So if we select the circle and this, we get the radius and diameter, which is just gonna show us the diameter. That's it for that. The next one is semi-major axis and semi-minor axis. That is for an ellipse when we decide the major radius and the minor radius. Let's say the major radius is this much and the minor is this much. If we select this, we can show the constraints for the major and the minor radius. Let me move this so you can see the values. There they are. So that's the semi-major and semi-minor radius. Next one is symmetry. So you may realize when we make something here and make a line that divides it into two sides, select this command, select the object that we want to mirror, and then the axis or line elements will remain equidistant to, we get these little internal constraints. They're called symmetry constraints. So if we move this, it will move this as well, equal distance. If we move this, it will move it as well. If we move the entire objects, it will move them and also the line sometimes. If we fix our line, let me try and show you this one. If we just fix it so it cannot be moved, we can now move everything except that line. Okay, so that's the symmetry constraint. How can we do it without using this command? Let me show you. So if we draw two lines, let's draw this one here somewhere. So we select the lines that we want to be equidistant to this line. Then we get the symmetry option when we select the constraint definition command. And now they're symmetrical. So if this moves farther from this line, this will move as well. But you see it will not move when it's up and down. That's because the points are not symmetrical. You would actually have to select the points as well individually. That's why we use mirror. So we don't have to do this for every single geometry we draw, for every line and every point. Next up is midpoint, a fairly simple one. You draw a line and a point somewhere in the line. This would be the midpoint of the line. Let's say we want it to be this. So when we select the line and the point, then our command, we get the midpoint. What it does is extend the line so this point is become the midpoint of the line. Next up is equidistant point. That's mostly made for points. Let's say we have 3 points. A point here, and a point that's very far. We want these 2 points, this one and this one, to be the same distance from this point. Right now, they are not the same distance. This one is about 10 millimeters away from this, and this one is 17. So let's select this one and this one. Just like symmetry, we select the 2 points we want equidistant from the 3rd point. Now we can select equidistant, and now they'll equal distance. Let's try and constrain it using this command here for quick constraints, and you can see they're the same distance. Now you see it's also purple. That's because if we change this value will be, it will say, wait, these need to be the same. I'm confused. What do I do? So it simplifies. That's equidistant. Next up is the coincidence one. So if we have 2 circles, let's make a smaller one. We select the 2 circles, and we have coincidence and concentricity. So if we select the concentricity one, they will have the same midpoint. If we use the coincidence one, they will have the same radius. That's concentricity and coincidence, I'm sorry. So if we choose coincidence right away, it will have the same center and the same radius right away. They will be concentric. They will have the same concentricity. Tangency is the next one. So if we want these two circles to be tangent to one another, we can use tangency. Let's say we want a line to be tangent to one of these circles. Let's say this one. We can use tangency. Parallelism and perpendicular. Let's draw two lines to showcase this. We have this line and this line. We select both lines, then we select them and we want them perpendicular, which means at an angle of 90 degrees. They're at the angle of 90 degrees already. But now if we wanted them to be parallel, we'll get another purple constraint. That's because, again, this needs to be parallel to this and this needs to be parallel to this. If we delete one of them, let's say the V1, and now select this and say we want them to be parallel, it will be parallel. Let's say it was like this, a little bit like this. We again select parallel, they're going to be parallel. We want them to be perpendicular and parallel at the same time. We cannot do that because that is impossible. Horizontal and vertical are the starting constraints. So let's turn this off and let's just draw a line right here. We want that line to be horizontal. It'll give us a little warning, but that warning is not gonna cause us any problems unless we have another constraint on it. So you have to watch out for that. And that's about it. Constraints are a very versatile tool, and whoever masters them can draw anything really very easily without any problems. That's it for the video. Thank you for watching and bye bye.